Hello again everyone and welcome back to another installment of Poke Fodder. Today, in preparation for a potential Dragon and Fairy Gym, we are going to test out a Fairy deck consisting of 2 Jigglypuffs, Xerneas, a Triple Evolution Ralts, a Mawile, and can't remember, Sylveon. So let's get right into the action. Basically, I tried using a round deck. I wasn't having any success with it. It's one of those synergy decks that everybody likes to, not everybody, but a lot of people like to run. Can be extremely powerful. I didn't have any success with it. I ended up fusing my my Wigglytuffs together and my Sylveons together. So I can't run one of those. If you do want to check out how a round deck works, check out Chicken's YouTube channel. He put one together yesterday, I believe, and he goes into it. It's not a complete round deck, but it'll give you the idea. So basically, we're just going to set up the board here. The first thing you'll notice is if you're going to throw a Fairy deck together, there's no gold on this team. So you're very susceptible to strong purple attacks, and you will definitely be handicapped on that. Unlike the Dragon deck that I put together a few episodes ago, and you can check that out in the previous videos. If you have Fairy, you have a couple of different runners that you can use. I chose Ralts because I've never played with Ralts, but I do like Gardevoir and Corilla. So that's why I went with this one, and I needed a runner, and it was 3 steps. It has a ginormous purple, so with a very interesting imprisonment, which is very interesting. We will get into imprisonment a little bit, but it is very susceptible to gold attacks. So keep that in mind. If you are going to put together a Fairy deck, you could be at a little bit of a disadvantage. Like right here, Ralts against Mew. Mew has a giant gold. That's not a good matchup for me. So I'm pretty much going to need to avoid that. Pressuring up the left side here. I do have 2 Jigglypuffs that I have set to evolve over to Wigglytuff. So if I can trigger those, they'll be even more powerful than already. Sylveon has round 30, which means for every round card you have in the field of play, it'll do 30 additional damage. Jigglypuff, if you just start with Jigglypuff, will only have 20, but if you can trigger the evolution from Jigglypuff to Wigglytuff, then you're going to get the 30 as well, making this, I could have potentially a 90 spin, which is very powerful. It's not going to knock out any hundreds, but that's why I have Xerneas in the game. If Xerneas gets hit with his 2-star purple, which is Mist Fairy, it's going to add plus 10 to all my Fairy cards that are on the field, and it does stack. So not really sure what he was thinking there, leaving his Glaceon wide open to be surrounded. Very easy surround there, and I'm setting up with really good position on the board early in this game as we're both kind of jockeying for establishing position and dominance on the field. I'm not really sure what was going on during this. I don't know if Koi was having a bad internet connection or if he was just very methodical about his plays. If you'll notice, the time isn't going down on his, and then all of a sudden it'll jump 6 or 7 seconds away. So this matchup takes a little bit longer than maybe it should have, but there you go. So imprisonment. Now, what's going to happen here is I have to avoid a gold, and I do. I get the consecutive 50 psychic whites. So now, part of Mew's wheel is imprisoned, meaning if it lands on that spin, it's just going to respin until something else lands. That can be good, but it can also be bad. If you'll notice, his white got imprisoned, which means now he's going to respin out of his white into his gold or his blue, which is bad news for me because his gold is going to trump my purple. And here we go. So now he has a great chance. I get lucky there with that spin, the blue. But as you can see, a bad matchup just became a worse matchup as far as Ralts goes with Mew. Something to keep in mind if you are going to use Ralts is that Imprisonment can work wonders for you, but it can also turn other cards into superhero cards. Starting to apply a little bit of pressure here on both sides now. I've got Xerneas on the left, and now I've got Jigglypuff on the right. I don't have really good matchups anywhere on the board though. Without a gold, it's hard for me to attack in anything purple, and because I have two that are going to try to trigger evolutions, they're a little bit weaker. So what I'm really hoping for is, out of my Jigglypuffs here, is I want to trigger the Lullaby, which is going to put not only the Pokemon that I'm in battle with asleep, but any adjoining Pokemon to sleep. So decided to go ahead and not take that battle. Did the suicide jump to knock out the Mew because the Mew was a bigger threat, and going one-on-one against Lugia did not have a favorable outcome for me there. Still feeling good here. I still have the majority of the board presence. He's down a man, so I've got 5 on the field compared to his 4. So I'm still feeling pretty good. Get the nice surround there. And things are looking really good as I start going in for his goal. Going to try to make this a 2-for-1. Get the great spin there. And now the 2-for-1 is complete. He's got 2 guys on the bench with weight and 2 guys on the field. So things are looking really good at this point. A lot of times it'll seem in the new meta is pressure early, pressure often, 2-3 runners barreling down at you. And so if you're not comfortable with that, you need to learn to play a little bit of defense. So I'm going to go ahead, and since I do have the board presence because he let me set it up, I'm going to go ahead and close off this entry point. And now I'm going to start making a push towards closing off everything here. Ideally, I want to get to his second entry point, close it off, then knock out Lugia, and that pretty much should be game. And that's kind of where I want to go with this. He did bring his Mew back out. And actually, Mawile is a good matchup against Mew because I have no purple on that. And the blue Trickery is a really interesting segment of his spinner, because what it'll do is it'll allow me to be a blue dodge, and blue always wins, or it will allow me to change the position over to my 70 attack for a victory. Didn't get that here, didn't need it. The 50 is going to trump the 30. The problem with attacking here, and I will attack in my own territory. I don't like to do it, and it's something that I do way too often. But the thing is, sometimes attacking in his territory when they have guys on the bench is it creates this endless cycle where you attack, you get the kill, he gets into the PC to the bench, and then a bench mon comes and replaces the one that you just knocked out. So it can become an endless cycle, and eventually you're going to not spin a winning roll, and that's not good. So when you see that happening, it's best, if you can, to do something to change up that pattern. So as you can see, right here, just trying to apply pressure, that was a really bad move. I should not have left the gold because that's going to set up the easy surround kill, and that wasn't good. So I went from having really strong position and a card up, and then I was careless, and now we're on an even playing field, and my position's not as strong because I gave up the entry point. He decides to attack with Lugia. I get the imprisonment again, which is going to knock out his 70 attack. And since they're both the same size, it's going to knock out both of his 70 attacks. Now, while that sounds good in theory, because now he has no white attack, the problem is he's going to respin both those, and he's either going to land on purple, which beats everything on my team at this point. The best I can hope for is a push, a dodge, or he has 2 miss sections. So I'm not really sure that I like this matchup here, but I need to get him out because I don't really have anything to beat him at this point without a gold. If I had a gold, that would be a lot better. If I had a Mew out here or Zapdos, that would be great. And that's kind of what I talk about when I say a deck that has synergy, is if I have Ralts here who throws down his imprisonment, and then you have one of their cards that can only spin purples, then I can move Ralts out of the way and attack him with a gold attack. A Mew, a Zapdos, a Greninja, Rayquaza. There's a handful of others that have gold attacks that then you can go after him because the chances of you knocking him out into the PC are a lot better. So that's what I talk about. That's what I mean when I talk about a deck that has synergy. I'm kind of in retreat mode here. I don't have a lot of power. Lugia is very strong over there on the side now, that chances are he's going to spin purple. And he gets the miss, and that was unfortunate. That could have been really nice for me to land on my white attack and trigger the evolution, but didn't happen. Probably another mistake here. I probably should not have attacked. I had good position down on his corner. The flame gun goes off, knocks me back, and now he's got a card up on me. So I went from having really strong position, got careless on 2 plays, attacked once when I shouldn't have, and moved once when I shouldn't have, and now I'm kind of scrambling. I'm not in nearly as good of a position as I was 7 or 8 turns ago. One thing to take away from that is whenever you are thinking about attacking, what's going to happen if you lose that battle? How's that going to change the momentum? So now, as you can see, I'm down 2 because I have 2 on the bench. Bring 1 back out. I'm right back to where I was, but in a much weaker position because I still have a 4-on-3 disadvantage. I'm really in defensive mode here. This game has completely turned around. It started with the ill-advised attack on the goal, and then a couple of other mistakes. Now he's full pressing against my squad here. I don't have a whole lot of room for maneuverability, and I don't really have the attackers to take him out. I do get a fortunate spin here. We roll the lullaby, which is going to put him to sleep, which means now I can pass through him. So it actually opens up an alleyway. He has to take Glaceon, slide him back. I'm going to move up Ralts, take over his entry point, and try to gain some advantage back on the board. couple of really nice spins there. It would have been better had Jigglypuff been sitting on somewhere where more than one of his guys would have got put to sleep. It didn't happen that way. I'm going to go ahead and get him out of the way and see if I can't start to apply some pressure, because he's going to either have to take a turn to unsleep his card, and then, or he's going to have to play defense with Glaceon. He chooses to unsleep. I'm just going to replace Jigglypuff here, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better about things. I'm in a position where I've got one Pokemon on his entry point, and I've got my two inner corners locked up and my goal blocked up. I'm okay with Sylveon running solo on the gym because it does have a nice sized blue piece. Other than that, it's not a great attacker. So it's mainly there as an evolution. Most of the evolutions, in fact all the evolutions, have really nice dodge pieces. Sylveon's the only one that I think has 2 MP though. So that is, I'm not sure why they did that, but that does put her or him at a disadvantage. I'm running out of time. I really didn't mean to do this double chance. I'm not sure the risk was worth the reward. And now, since you can't back out of playing a card, I'm stuck with it. I am low on time. Hoping for the imprisonment here. Knock his 50 out, which doesn't really help me out a whole lot. There we go. So now he's a little bit of a handicap. And hopefully we can go in for a surround kill. Or if he attacks, maybe he can land on one of his misses. Again, I'm running out of time here. Under 30 seconds. He's got 1:40, and then it just jumps to 1:37. So something's going on with the connection there, but I'm in a position where in 2 moves, I can have him surrounded. Hurricane hits. That's not good for me. That leaves me with only 1 play. Got to scramble for something. I'm hoping I hit a 70 and he lands on this. That's really the only outcome that can happen here for a victory. I hit the 70, he needs to hit the miss. He gets the dodge, and that is going to be GG. So couple of misplays really changed the momentum of that. If Sylveon could have thrown down a dodge there, we could have been good. Glaceon was going to come around for the surround, so it would have been interesting to see how that played out had Sylveon been able to throw down the dodge. Didn't happen, so it's a moot point, and let's move on to the next one. Just rolling the same squad out there, and these are league games, so the competition is fairly strong. Didn't come up against any Reuniclus decks, none of the Deoxys decks. Honestly, I haven't had much success with the Deoxys decks. I haven't figured out a way to consistently beat those. Reuniclus, in my normal deck, I'll throw Metagross out there, and it's great at nullifying all the respins, and I feel like it gives me a chance instead of I have to get lucky 2 or 3 times, or I have to outplay them 2 or 3 or 4 times. Then I can just do 1 time, see what happens. So there you go. Back to this game. Jumping up here. Gonna be aggressive with Ralts. Gonna get the neutral, the push there. Really want to establish some board presence because the deck is not super strong. And so I need to be able to outmaneuver him and put him in positions where he's the one attacking, so that then I can move, after a winning spin, I can move deeper into his territory. Couldn't land the lullaby there. Gonna bring out Sylveon for just the defense, really. Don't want him to let Ho-Oh have free run onto my goal. Bring out Xerneas to be able to cover my goal if needed. This is actually a good matchup for me, simply because I have no purple. And my biggest slice is Trickery, which can become a 70. And that's actually, it's a good matchup for me. So Emporium has the long throw card built in. He doesn't have to come into the game, and that's why I was touching those other spaces a second ago. Is he has a built-in long throw card, so he can just come in, and it ends his turn, but he can come in to any spot. So he could have jumped right behind Greninja and blocked that off. He could have gone over there for a surround kill had I rushed the right side all the way to his point. He would have been able to get the surround kill. Gonna go ahead and take my favorable matchup here. Don't like that. Definitely use the double chance, especially when you squeak out a win there. That was almost a miss, but especially if you have more chances to succeed than to fail, it's always good to double chance those, because things can happen. And like you saw, I missed with the first one because Water Shuriken rolled twice, gave him the 40 to my 30, but I had so many more pieces on my wheel that would beat that. So we get the victory there. Sylveon has to respin. No purple on that wheel, so there's no threat of losing a Pokemon even though I won the battle. Luckily, if they roll a miss on imprisonment, it does not change miss into a reroll. I also wanted to know, because I didn't know before this, if it would stack. Could you block out another portion of their wheel? And as you'll see in a moment, no. What it'll do is it'll just change. So now there is no white attack. So all I can do is roll its purples. And so it keeps going. I don't remember if it changes over. There will be another battle there. And I don't remember if it changes back over to Dark Mist, since they just rolled that. I'm not even sure if there's another battle, actually. Trickery. Look how big that is. That's 30% of my wheel. I made a mistake there. I didn't know that that I had to say yes to make it spin around to the 70 side. I don't use Mawile in my normal deck. I was just trying this out. So that was a mistake that I had made. Had I had I say yes, respin, it would have, or shift, it would have switched over to the 70 and I would have won that. Didn't end up mattering. I get the 80 on the miss. Worst case scenario is I lose, but most probable it'll be a 70-70 push on this, which is okay. I'm not in danger, but I did have upside on that play, so definitely wanted to at least try. Got to do something to try to break through and get to his back line. He goes for the hurdle jump, surround kills, and that honestly is just me not knowing what he has, which plates he has in his deck. So, like I said in yesterday's video, I often forget to check, and I didn't check there, and that ended up costing me one of my Mons. Jigglypuff with the clutch spin there. It's going to get the evolution to Wigglytuff. And now Wigglytuff as an evolved is pretty decent. Round 30, so because Sylveon's on the field, that's going to make it a 60 spin. And it's still pretty much a stalemate at this point. Not really a lot happening. I jump into the middle because there's no threat of the surround. He has to take over his goal. If I can imprison counter here, then he has no attack. All he can do is miss and dodge, I believe. Yeah. So that's what we're going to go for here, because that is a very advantageous. Get the straight up miss. Triggers the evolution. I want something a little bit stronger. I guess I could have left it with imprisonment, since that was the majority of my wheel. And I would not have been knocked out, except for Empoleon has a gold attack. So and as you can see, the imprisonment changed from the white to the purple. He does get the white roll. I roll the beneficial purple. Which is normally a 2-star move, but because it came from an evolution, it became the 3-star move, which is super powerful. Now Gardevoir has a 4-star move. So there you go. Whirlpool is not the best maneuver. It just switches characters on the field, so it's who you're battling. But nonetheless, it sets me up for the victory. Wigglytuff takes it home, and we go 1-1 with the fairy deck. So overall, the lack of a gold piece makes it kind of weak. I don't know that I will play with this type of deck all the time, but it could be really strong coming up in the potential upcoming gym. So that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you saw some things that you didn't know. If you want to try one out, do so. Let me know what you think about this and if you're running a fairy deck. And that's going to do it for today's episode. I'll catch you next time.